Good day, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Prairie Banana over on PulseChain. We're having spaces on YouTube, X Spaces. So you guys can make your comments in the comment box, and I will speak them or comment on them into the X Spaces. I'll have the founder on. He's going to be jumping in. I've got the spaces right here on my phone. And if you guys want to make comments in there and jump in the spaces, we'd love to hear your comments and have you join the conversation. I can speak for Zen also. He loves to interact with you guys. he loves you guys. Let me see here. I'll make sure this is. I think I can't. It's not doing anything because it's not live yet. Excuse me. So we're going to be talking about pTGC and UFO, and the two. Well, is UFO's had a little bit of a shakeup in the last few weeks, and I think we're going to hear about some of the tokenomics today. So I'm excited about that. So we'll probably get into it after we've been live for a couple minutes, just to give people time to jump in. But I'm definitely looking forward to hearing about the tokenomics, and he's excited. If he's excited, I'm excited. Join the space. Definitely accept to speak. It's an honor. Good morning, Zen.
Good morning.
How you doing, man? Tired?
Another day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, indeed. It is another day. Another Saturday. Another Saturday spaces. Somebody was asking if we're having spaces today. Like, yes. I won't do any
plans for the rest of the day.
Yeah, I'm gonna go help my dad sight in a rifle. I sold him a scope of mine. I sold it for crypto. Okay. This I had it on a 7mm Remington. Yeah, it's a deadly scope. It's a Burris. It's one of those. It uses infrared. It doesn't, or something like that. It doesn't. You can't lawfully like emit a light from a visible light. That's it. You can't emit a visible light lawfully in hunting, but you can emit infrared. And this scope, you press a button and it ranges for you. It gets the range, and then it puts, once you have it all dialed in with your particular ammunition and such, it knows the trajectory, and it'll put a red dot where you need to put where your target is. And so you just, if you're shooting out several hundred yards, it'll lower that red dot down in the reticle. And so you're raising the rifle muzzle up just a little bit, and enough to, make the arc to the target. And I was never a good long distance shooter until I shot with that scope on my rifle. It was a good rifle too. It wasn't a super good rifle, but it was a good one. But the scope was like tops, right? And I literally hit a pie plate. I had a good rest and everything. I hit a pie plate with that scope at 800 yards. That's eight football fields. Yeah, the first time I pie plate. And I hit it, and I was like, "Are you serious? That must have been an accident." No, I hit it 2 more times consecutively. It's like, that's nuts, man. 800 yards. So anyhow,
yeah, that's crazy.
So it's on one of his rifles now, and I'm gonna help him sight it in, because it has a little computer in it, and you have to program your whatever round you're using in there. And then of course you have to, physically turn the dials for the reticle, up, down, left, right, to get it to where you want it to hit, and so it's kind of fun, but it's spendy too, because when you're sighting in a rifle, obviously you're using multiple rounds, and they can be like, I don't know what they are today, probably $3 to $4 each. So yeah, that's what I'm doing today. How about you?
We're gonna go down to the beach after this. My brother-in-law and sister live down pretty close to the beach, and he was grabbing a spot on the beach at like 7 this morning, laying out his easy up and towels because it gets so busy down there today.
Uh-huh.
So they're kind of claiming the spot for a group.
Oh, fun. Are you going to get in the water?
Yeah, I'm going to bring my board down.
Okay.
I usually only get to go in for a little bit depending on who's there with us, just because both my kids are pretty crazy at the water. And, you know, depending if someone's there to help my wife wash or not, then I'll sneak in there for a little amount of time or a lot of time.
Yeah. Hopefully another mom or two shows up. They can watch the kids.
My sister and brother-in-law are pretty good, but it's not their job, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
It depends on how they're acting that day.
Yeah. But hey, it's worth noting, apparently. I haven't actually fact-checked it, but I heard the United States of America is 250 years old today. You know, essentially it's a quarter of a millennium.
Yeah, that's a big one. It probably is going to be pretty busy down there.
Yeah.
It was busy last year for sure.
And it happens to be on a Saturday, which is, I don't know, that's cool. Because, you know, if anybody's tempted to, like if it was on a Friday, I'd be tempted to work. The work that I'm doing, I'm like, man, people are off. I'm going to be reaching out, you know, I'll be working with them. But not on Saturday, I think.
Yeah, I went in
cool.
yesterday. We did a half a day and no one was working. Like literally once I got through like my work in the morning, usually work starts flowing in, just little odds and ends for me to do or things for me to look at, people asking questions. Clearly my emails were empty until I left.
Yeah, man. Nice. That's cool.
Which was good because it gave me time to focus on the new UFO. So I was just like, okay, I'll sit here at work and work on UFO a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then the crew sees me there, but I'm getting other stuff done. But you know what sucks is I don't know what's going on with the Block Explorer on PulseChain. I couldn't get it to work the last 2 days at all.
There might be something to that. Who knows? I would have my own hunches, but I'm not going to say them here.
Yeah, it makes it so difficult.
That's so funny
to like check stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's pretty much my main hurdle right now. Is I'm just kind of waiting for this Block Explorer to start working again and just verify a few things because I can't even verify this stuff.
That's funny. I heard that. I saw that same thing in a chat yesterday, and I was like, "Oh, is that a coinky dink?" I don't know. I have no idea. It's kind of interesting though. Well, but it's a bummer.
It's always been very, very poor, but I can work with poor. You know what I mean? But just not working at all, like can't load anything, is just obviously when you're trying to get a new token ready for launch, makes it nearly impossible and just makes you just want to wait. You know what I mean? You're like, okay, like I want a day where this is actually working to verify a few things. Yeah.
Well, all right. This is just me. This is just me. I'm and I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm going to tell you what to do. Take your time. And you know that, no need to rush it. From my perspective, this thing's going to live on PulseChain forever and a day. So, you know that.
Yeah. So it got pushed to the back burner until the Block Explorer is working for us again.
Yeah, and people can wait. We can wait. I'm sure everybody here would agree. Hey, we can wait. Well, let's see. We got 10 people on YouTube and 12 on X. That's just impressions, I think, on X. Oh, we're we're down to 11 on YouTube. They come and go. That's fine.
I figured today was going to be a light day. It's pretty early here, but on East Coast, it's 9:10. People are packing their stuff and getting ready to do what they're doing for the day.
Yeah. Yes, they are. Well, I did want to make some comments in relation to the X title that we're using, the Dolphins. And this is interesting. I'll share my screen. It'll narrate for anybody that's listening, for the people that are listening on X. Let me get my screen shared here. Give me a second. I can make some adjustments. I got to sanitize things over here because I'm sharing my screen I'm sharing like the entire screen nowadays. So I collected the data just the other day from the month of June. You know, now we're into July, and I do this every month, and thankfully the data for the positions was working. Just a side note, the other day, I was delighted to see that it was updated. And I know that's been a constant battle. But look at the difference between, and I'll narrate the difference in whales. Like just from last November, we had 14 whales that held 102 billion tokens. Now we have 13, so we lost one, and they hold 94 billion. So 6, 7, the I don't know how to put it, but the pTGC tokens were distributed into more evenly across those 13 whales. So those 13 whales essentially
or they got thinned out a little bit, right?
Thinned out, yep, all of them.
And the value's getting transferred over to
sharks and dolphins.
Sharks and dolphins, yeah.
Yep. So dolphins back in, well, sharks would be next. Back in November, there were 107 that held 93 billion. Now there are 109. So 2 additional sharks that hold not 93 billion, but 89 billion. So even the shark distribution, although we gained 2 sharks, the token distribution among the sharks thinned out. That's interesting. And then dolphins. This is where I see the biggest difference. Again, November, 594 dolphins that held 54 billion tokens to today, 717 dolphins. So 600, like over like 123 more dolphins that hold not 54 billion tokens, but 64 billion tokens. So the token distribution among the dolphins was the greatest in that was that
yeah,
3,
so we
4.
we saw a decrease on both whales and sharks, but an increase on quantity of tokens in the dolphin position and quantity of dolphins.
Yes. Yeah,
there's distribution for you.
And then you guys can see, like on YouTube, you can see the difference between May and July. And I'll just touch on it. No change in whale positions, but a loss of 3 billion tokens that whales hold. 1 additional shark from May to July, and actually an additional one. No, basically the same amount of supply. And then from May to July, dolphins went from 667 to 717, holding an additional 4+ billion in supply. And then, squids back in November, and this is a squid position is basically 3 million tokens. Back in November, 2,204. Today, 2,279. So an additional, 75 squids, and they scooped up more of the supply too. With 25 billion being held in November, 26 billion being held to today. And but from May to July, in just a 1-month span, the token distribution, the squid count reduced, which I find interesting. I think that some of the squids leveled up to dolphins. That's pretty clear to me. That kind of makes sense. What do you think?
Yeah, that's interesting for sure. Or sold out, one or the other.
Yep. It's probably a combination, but I think it's cool. I think, just to make some comments on, there's obviously some, we lost 3 billion. We didn't lose them. Okay. They go back into circulation, and we all get rewarded when people sell, down their bags. And, I'm a capitalist. People can do whatever they want with their assets. And when they do that in pTGC, when they move and do anything with their pTGC aside from, initially staking or initially locking pTGC, they're paying the holders, they're paying the system too. And so it's beneficial. And then people get the opportunity to level up to a shark position or to get that dolphin position they've been waiting for, so I hate to use the cliched term. It's all good, but from my perspective, it is good. And it rattles us a little bit when we see somebody selling down their bags. But here's the other thing that I was thinking about. Somebody selling down their bags, who are we to say that they don't know something? Like they don't know something coming in the macro market that might affect crypto. Maybe they're going to sell their bag down to buy a lower and re-enter and get more of the supply. Maybe that's a tactic for them, or maybe they just have something going on in their life. They need, access to that capital. Or like I said in our Telegram yesterday, they've been not plugged into the ecosystem like everybody here, and they lost their vision, and they maybe forgot about some of the incredible tokenomics of the pTGC contract, and they forgot, and maybe that shiny object caught their attention, and perhaps that's what causes people to sell. And I know that happens all the time, but just some initial highlights and thoughts.
Yeah, it
on that.
Could be a combination of things, right? Like it could be multiple feelings. It could just be bear market blues. It could be PulseChain blues. That's one conversation I've had with a few people that I know IRL that have hodled their bag from very low to very high to very low again, just scared about the outcome of PulseChain. It's been going down for 3 years. I understand the concerns, but again, that's also the biggest reason why right now is probably the worst time to be selling, right? You look at what we've seen in the last couple of weeks, some bags obviously being shaken, like that. Those are huge signs of what sometimes like a bottom looks like. You have the super low prices on Pulse, and then you have a couple big wallets just spooking out, it seems, due to different reasons. And we got down to, I think, a 10, 11 mil market cap, and those are way lower prices than I ever thought we were going to see, right? Like we tapped 15, and I felt like that was super low, and then it went even lower. So I tend to say hey, I guess it can go lower if people within the system want to sell their bags. Obviously, PulseChain could go even lower, but those are also like the signs of a bottom, is just like someone kind of spooking out right at the bottom. And for us who are holders, who believe in the system long term, there's a lot of tokens being distributed down here. And we saw when a couple of these big sales happened, new holders came in.
Yeah, they did.
on the first one, we picked up like 40 new holders in one day. And it's like, guys, we haven't seen 40 new holders in one day for probably a year.
It was 40. It was 47. I remember, or 46 precisely. Yeah. That's a fair point. The people are waiting for this. People are waiting.
Yeah, for sure. I think people are waiting. Doesn't mean we necessarily want to give them that entry. I definitely think holding up at certain levels is maybe not the best for onboarding new users, because there is a line of users, I think, waiting to get certain market caps. But I definitely think a 95, 97% discount from our all-time high, 15 mil, is a great entry point, right? And as a community, we definitely want to do what we can to hold these crucial levels, to just show strength in our ecosystem. And, the more value that's in the ecosystem, the more value that's working for the ecosystem. But then you see those little dips that happen because people sell, right? That's a guarantee in crypto. People are going to sell. That's why when we even do our moon mass, we factor in 99% sell pressure. Like, people are here to make money. That's why people are holding these bags. Obviously, some people go to make money short term. they do quick flips. They're only getting tokens for 6 hours. Some people are more midterm. Some people are willing to hold for an entire cycle. And then some people are long term. They're saying, hey, I want to see this thing 10 years out. And everyone has portions of their bags, maybe in all three categories. Maybe a couple people say, hey, I'm willing to hold this amount of tokens for a cycle, this amount of tokens for 3, this amount of tokens for a month. Everyone's different. Everyone has their own plan. We have to respect that. But for pTGC, we're super unique because as every single day ticks along, we're generating revenue. You see someone selling a little bit. You see new people buying a little bit. Obviously, we want that to be happening at higher prices than we are right now, but where we are is where we are. And I look back 2 years ago where we were, and we're still so much higher than when we were at a 500K market cap or a 5 million market cap ratio, not even 1-to-1 with PulseChain. It was like half or 0.1 to 1. And the environment on PulseChain was so much better then. So even though we are still higher, the environment's so much worse. And I'm proud of our community sticking to that and being able to kind of push through this really, really tough time. Like, the honest truth is most communities, most tokens aren't even around anymore, right?
Yeah.
So we got pushed into a little bit lower levels, but this is just opportunity to DCA for the people who wanted to increase their bag for cheap, opportunity to onboard people with your affiliate links at super, super cheap prices. Doesn't mean it can't go lower, but like, I think we can all say at one point, 38x from all-time high, like that's a pretty good set of X's just going back to all-time highs this next cycle. Not even, imagine a 3x over all-time high or a 5x over all-time high. You're now in the hundreds of X's. And I definitely think all that stuff is possible with a remotely successful PulseChain or remotely successful Ethereum. So it's just kind of, you got to look at the environment you're in, look at the situation you're in, just be like, hey, at least every single day, we have more LP flowing in, more value in the DAO, less and less supply. Excited for UFO to get back on the market so we can get the buying and burning from the UFO side again. I definitely missed that. I'm looking at these last few days and I'm like, ooh, we could be buying and burning tons of tokens down here at these prices. So we need to get this thing back out again. You know what I mean?
Yep.
UFO was burning a few $100 of pTGC every single day. Well, at these low prices, 13 mil market cap, that's a lot of pTGC every single day that UFO could be buying and burning. So,
absolutely,
like you said, no rush, but we want that machine on at the best time, low prices.
Yeah, we do. Low prices, man, and the rewards we scooped up in June was incredible, man. We there was so much good volume and low prices, man. And so on the topic of the price, I still could not even today buy as many tokens as I did initially in this ecosystem. I'm so thankful I pulled the trigger immediately and got in, because we've never been back to that price yet, and we may never. Now, Brown conservative capitalist said he increased his position in the last week or so by like 60% over the last couple of weeks. That's significant. I mean, that's a more than, I don't know, 60%, whatever that is. It's big.
Yeah, that's huge, right? Like, that's getting close to doubling your bag at a certain point. And what that offers is like just so much more pivotability in the future, right? Let's just use doubling your bag to keep it simple. If, let's say, you bought higher, prices go as low as they are right now, and you have the opportunity to double your bag for, let's say, a tenth of the cost or a fifth of the cost. Well, now you have twice as many tokens. What was your vision before? Maybe the vision before was to keep the half of the bag midterm. Let's say this just going into this next cycle, you're going to try to take half the bag out at the top. and the rest of the bag you're going to say, hey, I'll let this thing play out long term. See what this community could actually do in multiple cycles, see what PulseChain could do in multiple cycles. This is my long-term PulseChain hold. I believe if PulseChain is successful, this community will be successful, whatever that looks like in the future. Well, now you have twice as many tokens to make that decision with. You can still keep it 50-50. You can still keep the amount of tokens in the future long-term, and then 75 out this cycle. You can flip it the other way around, 75 long-term, 25 this cycle. So you just have so much more pivotability. Or maybe what you scooped at the bottom is just, hey, this is when things are up just 10x from here, let's say it's $5,000. Well, that's $50,000. Maybe you're just trying to get $50,000 out. It really does help the more tokens you have, because the less tokens you have to really watch when you relinquish those.
Yes.
That's one thing I've been kind of watching with mid-sized wallets that are selling down here. Like, yeah, it hurts. Someone does a $20,000 sell and they're out, and it's just like, well, that seller's out now. Someone can't sell their tokens twice. So if they need the $20,000 here at the bottom, that's technically, $800,000 at the top.
Yeah. Yes, sir. And Extra Crypto brought up a good point. It could have been just a FUD campaign. There was some misinformation. I didn't even see it, but I heard about it, about pTGC. And he said FUD campaigns are usually held by future holders. Once price is low enough, they'll jump in and, scoop out the lower prices. So I always forget about that when I hear FUD, that it could be done on purpose. So
yeah, there's definitely times where people FUD to get lower prices. Like, I even heard on Spaces one time, and this isn't even the pTGC thing. This is a PulseChain thing. They were talking about how when PulseChain dips super low, they buy it, they wait for it to go up 50%, they sell it, and then they go on Spaces and start FUDing it. And then they buy the dip again, and then they let PulseChain kind of bounce back up 50%, and then they go on Spaces and FUD it again. So then they kind of keep just buying the dip, letting it run back up, collect 50%, let it dip, run it back up. And obviously, if there's an alt token that there's value in, you can take a dip on a FUD campaign. I remember like 3 years ago, Tommy, like before he was on board with PDI, he came out and FUDed PDI a little bit, and it dropped drastically because Tommy was a big player, and I was able to scoop up that dip because I was like, oh, okay, here, I'll scoop this dip. Like, it doesn't look organic. It looks like people got shaken because of fear, and there you go. You now just got double the amount of tokens that you would have got if you bought a day earlier. So it's just as simple as that, right? Like, people want to have a bag of pTGC. They know people are scared right now. So when people are scared because of PulseChain, because of price, because of the bull market coming and going so quick and not getting the profits, people can shake out of the only bag that they have profits in. And that's still on chain is just a few tokens. Most tokens that people hold on their wallet, they are down really, really bad. And some people are down bad in pTGC too, but there is users that are still in profit, like you said, you are, right? Yeah. And when times get tough, people start to look at their bag and say, gosh, this is the only place I have any value in. I see all these people saying this and that, and I'm going to take this off the table or take that off the table, or I'm scared that crypto even has another alt cycle, right? Like, that's even something I've heard is,
sure,
with it evolving, with the alt cycle being so bad last cycle, does it just keep getting worse and worse and worse? Does PulseChain cycles get worse and worse and worse instead of better? There's all these valid reasons of why people feel emotion with their finances, right? Like, a lot of people put savings into this, so they're emotional about it, and people can play with your emotions online. The one thing I kind of know, though, is usually people talk negative about things that they're not in and they're not reaping rewards on, and they talk positive about things that they're in and they're reaping rewards from. And that's just human nature. Yeah. If people got a bag and it financially benefits them to speak positive, they do so. If people don't have a bag and it doesn't benefit them, they usually speak negative.
Yep. And that, yeah, we're not going to play like that. So I found an account, pTGC Nurse on X. I want you guys to go follow this account. Whoever it is got 10 followers and is a trumpet for pTGC. Like every other post is about the greatest currencies with images and such. So go follow this account. It has 10 followers so far. So, and I dropped it in the chat on YouTube. And I think I actually saw them on Spaces, which is why it caught my eye. I was like, I'm not following that person. So give them a follow. pTGC Nurse. I'll drop it in the Telegram too. Let's see. Holland says, yo. Ray and Pookie says, great morning, y'all. I think that about pretty much sums it up. And Holland makes another good point. He said people have been doing FUD campaigns on Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and then they leverage trading on normies. Yeah. Blue Diesel says, I've seen many projects expand to other chains that get more attention, in quotes, for X's. Is that possible with pTGC and UFO? I think we had some conversation about that maybe a year or so ago. But I don't know.
So obviously, like venturing out of the PulseChain echo chamber is super beneficial. There's only so many users on PulseChain. It's thinner than ever. It's never, in my opinion, been as bad as it is right now as far as new users coming in, right? I think back to a couple years ago, we're almost 3 years old. There was new users coming from other blockchains or not even crypto people showing up all the time, daily. People, even within our community that are heavily multi-chain, we're onboarding other multi-chain people constantly. I think of GooGod instantly in my head. GooGod's on multiple chains, and he was able to onboard all over the place because PulseChain was new. It was in its first cycle. People believed something was going to happen. Where recently, I've seen definitely that dry up, and I think that shows on the chart that's been dried up. So until this bottom's formed and this next cycle starts, and there's some form of hope going into this next cycle, which Richard knows all this. He's like one of the smartest people in crypto. He knows how the markets work. He knows what drives people in. Like, we can't act like he doesn't see this stuff written on the wall. It's so obvious to him. It's insane. Like, he understands all this stuff better than everyone else. But we want to get in front of these other blockchains. Does that mean we actually want to migrate to other blockchains? I personally don't. I think the upside potential here, the opportunity here on PulseChain outweighs what any other blockchain offers, right? You can get a 5x on Solana or 10x on Solana, 5x on Ethereum, 10x on Ethereum. Like, for PulseChain to do those kind of X's from these low prices is a walk in the park. It literally takes like a net positive $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, $5 million or something like that. We could play with Pumpy or Pampy if you want a little bit. So we just need some little sign of hope. Yesterday, we kind of started seeing people talking about Richard's case being dropped and him having to say, no, it's not yet, but thanks for being positive. But my point is, the setup here for X's is insane for projects like pTGC and UFO. It's just there's no users here right now. So if we can venture into these other ecosystems, or I've even been talking about IRL, because the hard thing about people in crypto is they usually make a chain their home base. And there is users that are multi-chain, and you can get people to step out of their home base, but they don't usually do it in bear markets. They do it with FOMO usually when they see green candles happening in a place they're not. And that's just not anywhere right now. So right now, I feel like it's just knocking on the doors of IRL. It's having the conversations with people from other blockchains, and just putting it in their ear, you know, like, hey, keep an eye on us. Like, it's tough right now, but with the market bottoming, with ETH starting to make its way up, which could have already happened, could have already bottomed, or it could be coming in the next couple of months. Who knows? We'll see. But there is going to be a point where crypto turns around, it makes its bottom, and it starts making its way back up again. And next thing you know, we blink and ETH back at 4K, Bitcoin's back at 120, and altcoins are starting their run again, and these prices are left far behind. So the goal is, you know, get the people you care about in before that, get yourself in before that, and be ready for that time comes. And let's put pTGC in front of people who are not PulseChain people.
Yeah.
Like, people on PulseChain know about pTGC. Like, we saw it, you know, over the last couple of weeks, you know, the FUD campaign or whatever you want to call it, just people highlighting that pTGC is going down. People love to talk about pTGC going down in price when everything else has been going down in price for, you know, 3+ years. But when pTGC does, it's like the talk of the town. Like, everyone knows about pTGC, which is good. When pTGC goes back up, everyone's going to see it. But that's just PulseChain, a very, very small group of people. Like, we need to get pTGC in front of other blockchains. So when things start moving back up, they start to see it and it catches their eyes. And that hopefully is a pushing factor to get them over to PulseChain, which helps PulseChain and helps us.
Yep. Yeah. PulseChain is literally like 30x from its all-time high. 30x. And if pTGC does just, huh?
Could you imagine a 30x multiplier
Yeah.
on pTGC and on UFO? The most we've seen in the existence of pTGC is, I think, a 4 to 5x multiplier.
From PulseChain?
From PulseChain, yeah.
Whoa. Yeah.
That's why I said that, hey, it's, even if I say it amongst my subscribers all the time, be a genius if you're right, be a genius if you're wrong. Well, yeah, we smashed it with pTGC, but, you know, nobody really smashed it with X, PulseX, ProveX, nor PulseChain. So at the end of the day, outside of the PRC20s that you might have made money on, whether it was Peacock, PDI, Teddy Bear, pTGC, X Games, just any of those protocols that did good numbers, we were wrong about the X's in the L1. Like, that's just undeniable at this point. So if we are somehow wrong again, let's just say PulseChain does only a 20x. Well, I'm not going to guarantee it, but what we've seen with pTGC off of a 6, 7x, just imagine what we see off of a 20x. So that's almost a very good insurance plan. Be a genius if you're right, be a genius if you're wrong situation where you're saying, hey, pTGC could easily go back to its all-time high, even if PulseChain does a lower high for the whole cycle. Many people will be upset about that. If you're in pTGC, you're going to be happy about that. And that's just not being a negative. That's just reality. That's just insurance. That's, you know, people do that all the time. They hedge their bets. You know, they will buy Bitcoin and then they will short Bitcoin so that way their spot position remains that they don't sell their Bitcoin, but they'll take their other money and short Bitcoin. And when Bitcoin's in a bear market, so they're making more money, making more coins. That's kind of like the opposite direction with pTGC. Well, instead of buying PulseChain, I'll just buy pTGC, and that will get me more gains because it's a multiplier on the actual chain. And if for whatever reason, let's just say he's still wanted by whoever, and he fakes you out and it ends up being a lower high and you gotta wait another 4 years for hoping that something happens. PTGC could easily go to all-time high and then some, even with the 20x. If you were just holding PulseChain, you would be pissed off if you just go up to, let's just say, 3 zeros and a 1, 2. You got your money back. Congratulations. Like after 8 years, you got your money back. And pTGC is sitting at $1 billion market cap. And you're like, damn it. So it's not shitting on the chain. It's just giving yourself options and insurance, in my opinion.
Yeah, and those additional X's can be good, like really, really good if you're someone who wants to take some money off the table or take some profits. If, let's say we got back to stack price on PulseChain, and that's, obviously a huge resistance point for the entire chain. It's pretty much the price everyone entered in at. But pTGC, and from here, that's like a 15x or 16x. Well, let's say pTGC is able to lock in a 3x on top of that. Nothing crazy. That's not even the all-time high in ratio against PulseChain. That's where we just were in ratio, I think, just a couple months ago. We lock in that additional 3x. Well, that means you have 3 times the amount of value for your entire PulseChain bag. That means you're locking in a 45x from these levels. So then instead of being at a 15x, your value's at a 45x. Well, you can take a little bit off the table and get some money off the table and stuff like that. But if all you're locking in is the 15x and that's your entire bag, it's very, very hard to take anything off the table because a lot of people need more than 15x to even break even, or even more. Like, people aren't here to break even. They want some X's on top to break even.
And if you do care about PulseChain that much and you want more PulseChain, well, look at the PulseChain chart, the pTGC. Like, if that's what you want and you're willing to wait it out even longer, if that was the case, well, guess what? You get more PulseChain with your pTGC because it's going to go up higher and faster than PulseChain. It showed that through its whole history. Don't be the guy that bet against history. Tell people all the time. You guys even saw me argue against Ian yesterday to the point where he left the stream because I was going off of history. It's just one of those things where I tell people, don't bet against history. Every time you bet against history, you will always be wrong when it comes to crypto. It's that simple. Everyone that said super cycle, yeah, we're going on a super cycle, all of them are wrong. Banana zone. Oh my gosh, the banana zone. Let's go into the banana zone. Wrong. So just don't bet off it. Don't bet against history. If you see a chart that's doing something and nothing has changed, it's likely to do it again. Crypto is nothing but a bunch of cycles.
The one thing pTGC has been very, very consistent on is when ETH and Pulse are moving up, pTGC has consistently done X's over both of those. But they need to be moving up. The crypto market needs to be in somewhat of an uptrend, even if it's a short uptrend. We've seen literally just micro bounces, few month little runs, and pTGC has done X's over Bitcoin or Ethereum and PulseChain during those moves. So, like you said, if you like PulseChain, if you want to increase your bag of PulseChain, pTGC does a couple X's over PulseChain, you just doubled your PulseChain bag. You can literally sell half of your pTGC bag, get all of your PulseChain back, and still have a massive bag of pTGC. And the real opportunity of that is when prices are very low, when you can scoop the pTGC in ratios of PulseChain or in USD for very, very cheap. And like we said, there's no guarantees that PulseChain is going to go on this crazy run and break all of its resistance zones in this next cycle. Obviously, we believe it's possible. It takes very little amount of value, but it could get stopped at 10x from here. That's where it kind of got stopped when pTGC was at its all-time highs. It could get stopped at SAC rate. You're working with the X multiplier. PulseChain does a 10, 15x, but we do a 5x over that. You're not doing a 15x. You're now getting closer to the 100x zone.
I do think if you're you're just holding, there's a select few assets that you'll see your value back that you saw once before, which gives you another chance to actually see higher too and speculate on that. But I do think that if you're willing to just chill for realize that our bear market lasted or ended at about a year early, about 8 months early. So no, about a year early. So it would not surprise me if our bull market starts a little earlier than most altcoins too. So it's very possible, but even if it doesn't, I do think in an asset like pTGC, we'll see those values that you saw again. And I personally have never, two times. I'll count Bitcoin in this. There's only 2 assets I personally have ever held through a bear market going into another bull market. pTGC is actually one of them. And that's ever. And I've been in this game since 2013. So I'm not saying do what I do. That's what I do. I'm just going to show you that, like, hey, the way the situation sits, you have a choice. So you say, all right, let me sell and move on. And I say no, because the story's kind of incomplete. It didn't really have its run. It hasn't really done anything. And that insurance gives me confidence that we will see those numbers, if not a little bit more, even if a lower high happens. There was never really many coins in the history of crypto where you could say that with, because the tokenomics didn't benefit the coin in order to do that. And that's the reason why I say with confidence that, like, I'm pretty sure we will all see those numbers again, if not higher, based on the conditions that are given to you.
Yeah, when pTGC was even at its highest point, PulseChain was 406, right? That's pretty much the price pTGC launched at. So I agree. I feel like the story's unfinished because we've yet to be on the layer 1 that's actually trended in a positive direction, which is an indicator only of the X's because of prices being connected, but also value on the chain. If the price of the blockchain is the exact price it was pretty much when pTGC launched, that means the value on the chain itself is pretty much even as when the chain went launched. So there's no new additional users. There's been a mix of users. Some people left, some people came in, but the amount of value willing to speculate or be on chain never increased. And now it's obviously 20 times lower. So I agree. I think now that we're 20 times lower, obviously we can see an increase from here, but I'm interested to see what the environment looks like going back to those same levels that we've obviously gotten stuck at a few times now, the 4 zeros and a 6, or even what it looks like breaking through.
I mean, definitely going back, in my opinion, is going to be, a massively higher valuation. I think that breaking through is going to create the ultimate FOMO, like stupid FOMO. Really, if we break 4 zeros and an 8 on PulseChain, I really do think if the timing is correct, I really think the FOMO really gets stupid, to where you're just going to see stupid money start coming across the bridge where people start chasing, because people want to get those X's with those 3 zeros and a 1 and start those X's. And that's just speculation. But like, just for me in general, it's funny how 2 of the top 3 assets that I hold in the wallet have to do with math. And those are the ones that I've held throughout the bear market, because of math. And, pTGC is just finally rebounding, but the other one has been holding and actually went up during the bear market because of math. So that's the other project. I'm actually going on the block runners. I don't know if you guys heard, but I'm going on the block runner stream on Monday. These guys are they are the creators of DMT NAT, which is a Bitcoin protocol. These guys are just straight full Bitcoin guys, and they are huge on math. And I would definitely speak pTGC on that, because they're going to ask me a lot of questions on why I am so interested in like DMT NAT. And it's really just the math and how shit works with the protocol. So it's just funny how the two products through the bear market that you guys have heard me shilling week in, week out, they're all relative to math and what makes the protocol stay up and go higher than most. When you add those into crypto, it just works. It's just a matter of adoption at that point. But just through the bear market, I've seen my portfolio absolutely take a hit, 1,000%. But it should be a bigger hit. If it didn't have math involved to it, the hit would have been way bigger. So it's pretty cool to see how sometimes when you'll hear me say first mover. I love first mover coins I haven't seen before, stuff I didn't see. Like, it's just something that's different and new. We've seen meme coins, we've seen AI coins, we've seen all the LARP coins. But once you start introducing math, it kind of plays a different game with the psychology of holding a coin.
Yeah, I like what you say about the math, because then the adoption, right? And that's kind of just leaning into the basic law of supply and demand. If the math is controlling the supply to a certain extent, you just have to get that demand in then. If you're controlling the supply and demand finally comes in, that adoption, like you're set up to do some crazy numbers. Obviously with PulseChain, we've lacked the demand side because the L1 we've built on has never even increased the demand since its launch. The max amount of demand we even had on chain was pretty much day one of the chain. It's never increased. And, obviously I don't know so much about the NAT, but if they're working on the math and the math is getting better and better and better distribution, less supply daily, or however their math is working, if they can ever get that demand in, it's set up for massive moves. And that's what we're focusing on here with pTGC, is just keep the math going, and then eventually we get the demand in. Right now, very difficult. We're low on PulseChain, but like you said, if PulseChain starts crossing 4 zeros and 8, there's going to be a line of users running to this protocol, PulseChain as a whole again, because they're going to see people are up more X's than every other blockchain out there. When we're back at 4 zeros and an 8, we're already up 15x from the bottom, where you look at a Solana or an Ethereum, they might only be up 2 to 3x by this point. And people are going to run to where people are making the most X's.
Yeah, it's like another narrative. It is a narrative, because at the end of the day, you need the adoption, you need buys. Math can only take you so far. But once the adoption of buys come, that's where the speculation comes, because the math just takes over at that point. Their math is a little bit more speculative with Bitcoin. Our math is more direct. Like their math is basically, I don't know if you guys know, but Bitcoin actually is not sustainable in the way the mining network works if the price does not double every bull market. So no one's ever even thought about this, where you can have a multi-billion, multi-trillion-dollar industry, but it's not backed with enough money to secure it, where it can get attacked. So if Bitcoin doesn't double every single time, then therefore this is the issue that you will run into. It's like an attack vector. And it's going to cost less to attack it than it would be to actually secure it. Or it's going to cost more to secure it than it's going to cost to attack it. Now, that's a very speculative math. But if it doesn't keep doubling, people are going to start looking for answers. Then they speculate. It's kind of the same thing with like pTGC. Well, we're burning these coins at these lows, burning. And if PulseChain starts to give us a little life, well, that's all going to come in effect, and that's more what's the word I want to say? That's a more direct. That's more of a direct math. So there's a cause and effect to it. It directs it, and then therefore it's going to react. That reaction is going to be that adoption. That creates adoption where people turn their heads and start, well, this one's going up a little higher. So they're both math. One's just more direct. The other is more like, if this doesn't happen, you're going to look for answers. And when you look for answers, you're going to find the answer. And therefore price goes up. So it's just finding different ways to attack the narrative of what works in crypto.
Yeah, it's one of the best use cases of crypto. Is it's all math based, and if you can base a protocol off of the math and use the math in your advantage, like it goes hand in hand. But definitely, if demand of the blockchain keeps going down, you can buy and burn tokens constantly, but no one sees what that's actually doing for the protocol if everything keeps going down and down and down. But if that ever reverses, users will start to see what's happening because they actually see all that burning turning into price appreciation. If the blockchain is going down, this is the last year and a half of PulseChain, you don't notice what the burning's actually doing because no one sees it on the chart. There's just a supply decreasing, but no one actually sees value in that until the price chart turns around. When the price chart turns around and they see that 13 whale positions are in a dead address, not in holders' hands that can never sell, and they see that dead address technically buying, it's the DAO or the code or UFO buying pTGC, and it just increasing its position every single day. This is where it actually clicks for users. They need the green candles to happen for it to click like what mathematically is actually happening. If prices are just going down, people don't care about the math as much unless you're like a math, nerd about it. But yeah, were you talking with Bitcoin just about how the halvening, obviously then there's half as many mining rewards paid out. So then technically the price has to increase double for all the miners to be in profit. Is that what you're referring to?
No, it's a very interesting thesis that the price does have to keep doubling every halving because of the amount of, in a way, yes, but because of the amount of Bitcoin obviously is getting cut in half. So you can take the math and say, well, where does Bitcoin have to be in price over time in order for this to be a secure network? So when the price was going up 10x, 100x, 1000x, on Bitcoin, yes, it was working. But as adoption happens, countries take it over, price doesn't go up as high. We understand that the bear markets aren't as brutal, but the bull market are as aggressive. So if your rewards vector is giving someone the coin in itself, what makes it viable? Like at what point, at what number, what year makes it risky to be in that coin because it can get attacked? So that's where they go into, and they take things what Michael Saylor says, which is a little, obviously we all know it's a little over the top. So they take the things that Michael Saylor says, and then they apply the math to it and say, at this year, people are going to look to attack an asset because it can't be protected by the actual miners. So then what happens is they say, okay, well, what do you do about that? Well, you apply an additional method of the miners getting paid. So what you've seen happening is you've seen miners now picking up the MT-NAT, like the top 10 miners are picking up the MT-NAT and adding it to the Bitcoin rewards, which is now getting a lot of speculation of, well, the math is kind of correct. If the price doesn't double, which it hasn't, it went from 70,000 to 124,000. if we're already starting that math, well, what happens if we don't get that the next bull market? Now people start thinking, start talking, and then that's how adoption happens. So it's very interesting on the Bitcoin side to see that. And it kind of makes you prop up your eyes because, yeah, we did not create a double to all-time high from the top from the last bull market. We fell short of it. So if it does it again, say we go from 125 to only 250 and then have another halving, well, guess what? That thesis is working.
Yeah, if it needed to double 170, it needed to be at 140. And then if it needed to double 140 again, it would need to be 280. So then they're $40,000 short, you know?
Correct. So that adds up every single double. And then you're going to start asking yourself, well, it's fine that the adoption's slowing up, but the network is cutting its rewards in half and getting harder to even mine those coins, which means somebody can come in and start looking to say, how much is it going to cost me to attack this system? Because it's not getting protected. And especially during the bear market when miners start taking off, you know, they shut down their machines and stuff like that. And then you'll get miner capitulation. that's when it really can cut into play. So it's a long-term thesis. It's a long-term look of things, but it also gives, they're saying that's the only flaw they have seen in Bitcoin, is that if it doesn't keep doubling, which it did in this bull market, and that's the reason why you're starting to get that, you know, the price started going up because it's like, wait a second, okay, we now accept that Bitcoin didn't double. So what if it just keeps doing it? What if it only stops at 200,000 this time? Like, that's not a good thing. So we need to find a way to accumulate value. And we just know how crypto is. There's a cartel. And if they want to save their money, well, guess what? They're going to prop up that one coin. So that, therefore, it's accepted, it's adopted, it's a new narrative. And then all of a sudden, there's your answer. So that's interesting. It's just something to... beyond the coin, it's something interesting to look at because that's the space we're in. I think that's the one flaw you can absolutely do is be so in an echo chamber of your own echo chamber and not understand or even see what's going on outside of the echo chamber. That is a portfolio potential just reckoning because you're not paying attention to the market outside. I'm not saying buy DMT that. I'm saying look at the math, understand what's going on, because maybe you're able to front run that if that becomes the narrative, because you know what's going to happen to the market if people start thinking that. They're going to get scared and they're going to freaking sell the whole freaking market down. So just understand what's going on in your market and what people are talking about. And it is interesting if you are in crypto. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, you could be so focused on one thing for 1 year and the space can evolve so quick in 1 year. It's insane.
But yeah, it's something I've been looking into for almost 2 years now. It's weird that it's been 2 years. I mean, time's flying. Literally, if you're about to cycle, which I think the cycle is going to get cut a little short for the bear cycle, if you follow the cycle, we're literally July, August, September, we're 3 months away, and that's the end of the bear market. And now you're into everyone being pumped and loving life again. So it's that was it. If you're how much lower can it go? It's I talked to somebody the other day. He was in pTGC, pretty big player in PulseChain. He's a pretty big player in PulseChain. And he said, I don't know, man. I'm every time I go in hard and I always get wrecked and this and that. And I said, you know what you should do, man? I was I'm going to tell you right now, I think the bottom is in. And that's just my honest opinion. I think the bottom is in. But if it's not, it's going to sweep the bottom about 10%. For example, when we were at 17.5 during the FTX crash, I called the bottom. I said, anytime you can get under the 300-week moving average, better be fucking buying up backing up the truck. I said that for 3 to 4 months, it flirted with the 300-week average. Some days it went under, some days it went on top. I said, anytime you can hit that, you better buy. And I was on stream. I got all the clips. I got all the proof saying this.
Is
And when that happened,
17,500 on Bitcoin.
yes, this is what I got live streams. Me sitting there saying, guys, buy. Like, this is it. Like, this is it. It went down to 15.5, a little swing low, a little swing of the lows. And everybody's freaking out, going to 10K, 10K, 10K. That was it. And you had 4 months to do that. But the thing was, it got you so comfortable being at that level that everybody and their moms thought it was going down another leg. And because it sat there, that was accumulation spot. Well, guess what? The 300-week moving average hit a week ago, 2 weeks ago, $58,000. It hit to the T. It bounced. We're sitting at 61, 62. So right now, what is the one thing you hear everybody say? We're going to 40K, we're going to 30K. MicroStrategy is going to get liquidated. MicroStrategy is up like 40% in the last 2 weeks. A stock that everyone said was going to ruin Bitcoin, and no one's still reacting to it. They're still talking about it. Understand this. You want to know the market? Well, guess what? When do you think Ansem started freaking shilling? You ready for this? When the 300-week moving average hit. Somebody's listening. Somebody out there's listening. Because notice how all of a sudden Solana and Ansem, they came alive during the 300-week moving average. Now, I'm not saying that is the bottom. I think the bottom's in. But what I am saying is, I said to the individual, I said, listen, dude, you're going to end up exactly like you did in the last bear market because you thought 10K and pray was coming, and it didn't come. And I'm letting you know right now, the exact same thing is happening to you right now. You just don't see it, feel it. You don't see it just the way you didn't feel it at 17.5. So if you cannot do that because you think I'm wrong, and there's a possibility I am wrong, and if I am wrong, you're going to get that little swipe, and I think that's the most you're going to get is that little swipe. But even when you get that little swipe, you're still not buying. Just like I said, hey, when pTGC says, oh, I'm waiting for 20 million market cap, did you buy? Probably not. Oh, well, I'm waiting for 10 mil market cap. Did you buy? Probably not. No, I'm waiting for 5 mil market cap. Yeah, there's going to be a time when that shit's just going to say, you're not getting it. And then you're going to lose. It's so easy for pTGC to be back at 30 mil market cap. We're talking about math. It's easy. It is nothing. If PulseChain takes off a 0 and goes back to 4 zeros and a 1, guess what? pTGC would be at a 30 mil market cap. That's how easy it is to lose 3x of your value that you could have had. So that's what I mean by accumulation phase of doing it. And I told him, I said, listen, man, friend to friend, man to man, I'm just telling you how it is. And I wouldn't tell anybody this, but if you are really worried about going all in now and you don't think the bottom is in, this is what you need to do. We've got 3 months until the official end of the bear market. Now, when I say the end of the bear market is here, I'm basically saying it's accumulation time. Accumulate what you have. Take 3 months, which we got 3 months because that's the cycle. It's been the cycle since the beginning. And I want you to multiply that by 4 weeks. So what I want you to do is you take every week. You got 12 weeks there. And I want you to divide the amount of coin or the amount of money you have by 12. And every week, just put in that amount. I don't care if the price is at 60. I don't care if the price is at 58. I don't care if the price is at 54. I don't care if the price is at 80. Find a number that you're saying, okay, the bull market's definitely on. I was wrong. I'm going all in. So let's say you got $100,000 for the sake of numbers. Actually, let's just say $12,000 for the sake of numbers. I'm not going to do that to myself. So $12,000 for the sake of number. Every week I'm gonna put $1,000 in, and if it goes above 85,000 and I've got 4,000 in, well, guess what? I'm putting in the rest of my $8,000. We're in. Let's go. Bull market, go on. You know, whatever that number is. And I said, and what's gonna happen at the end of that accumulation phase? You ain't gonna give a damn at what price you didn't get in, because too many people are infatuated with catching the exact bottom. Tell me. Anyone that bought 17.5 on my call that the bottom was in, do you think they are complaining at the end of the bull market when the price was $124,000?
No.
Who do you think the guy that bought at 15.5? He bought the bottom at 15.5. Do you think he's more happier than the guy that bought at 17.5 when the price at the end of the day was $124.5? No. No. There's, for some reason, crypto people can't really take that math and really put it together. Let me really put it in perspective for you. You have $100,000 and you bought $100,000 worth of Bitcoin at 17.5. You have 5.714 and some change Bitcoin. At $124,000, that person's bag is worth $708,571. Remember that, $708,571. The person that took $100,000 and bought at 15.5 now has 6.45 Bitcoin. You multiply that by 124,000, the person has $800,000. So it's a difference of like $60,000. At the end of the day, you're above almost $250,000, $750,000. I'm sorry. That doesn't matter to the individual. All they see is they just hit it and smashed it. We're at that point right now. And if you're not messing with six figures, it gets even crazier. That doesn't even matter that much. So, you know, the more money you make, the more it starts to matter. If I took $1 million and did that, now we're talking where you can be a little bit more like anal about it. But once you get below six figures, it gets to the point where you're just like, it's not that big of a deal. Difference. Just freaking go in, dude. You're making way too much of it.
Yeah, one thing that I've kind of noticed, and it's like contradictory, is the people who are waiting for that exact bottom are also the same people that are waiting for the confirmed uptrend. And you can't get the bottom if you're waiting for the confirmed uptrend. You're almost 2x already priced out once you get that confirmed uptrend. You know what I mean? So if you're waiting for the confirmed uptrend, like by the time PulseChain's in a confirmed uptrend, you're not even in the 5 zeros anymore. You're now in the 4 zeros, and pTGC is already, like you said, maybe at 30 mil market cap. But if you're waiting for the bottom and it even dips lower, like there is no confirmed uptrend right there, right? And like you said, they usually don't pull the trigger anyways at that price. So if you're looking to get the best deal, you're probably better off just DCAing to low prices in general, because your only other option is waiting for the confirmed uptrend. And if you're waiting for the confirmed uptrend, you're buying at a 30 million market cap anyways.
What happens is it's a reverse psychology on the confirmed uptrend, because what ends up happening is, for example, Bitcoin, the true confirmed uptrend was at $30,000. So you know what happens when Bitcoin doubles and when altcoins can do it with that confirmed uptrend. It's ridiculous the amount of gains that you lose out on just that 2x. Bitcoin did what, a 6x from its all-time high? From its all-time low? No, it did about 8x, and you missed out on 2x of it. So if you take 124 by 15.5, that was an 8x. Because you got in at $30,000 of the bull market, you missed out on. You got to divide that by 2 because you missed out on the 2x. So you got, sorry, not totally, sorry. You got 224,000 divided by 30, which is going to be your 124,000 divided by 30,000 by 30. You're looking at a 4.13x. Yeah, so you got to divide by 2. So you didn't even get the 8x. You got a 4x on your Bitcoin gains. So that's a big difference in you not getting it at 17.5, but you waiting on that uptrend. So what happens during that uptrend? Here's the next thing. People don't think about this. Well, where's it going to bottom at now? You're literally doing the exact same thing. Where's going to confirm that bottom for the uptrend? Oh, is it going to go even lower now? It's bouncing right now. Is it going to go a little bit lower, or is it going to go up and go down again? You're putting yourself to the same. You don't even realize you're putting yourself to the same exact situation. So you don't even get in that 30K because you think 30K is going to get denied because that's where all the levels. There's so many levels that can get denied off of that. You're wrecked.
Yeah, then next
you're wrecked.
You're DCAing around the 60K zone and also like the 50 mil pTGC zone because you didn't DCA the 13 mil pTGC zone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were just at 50 mil not too long ago, like this year, guys. So if you don't think we can just with a hiccup, be back at 50 mil, you're wrecked. You are going to pump our bags and buy our bags higher. And I'm not doing that to be an asshole. That's just a fact. That's just what's going to happen. And then at 50,000, at 25,000, you thought you were going to buy it in that $10,000, 10 mil market cap, and you never did. Well, guess what? There's a big difference between $50,000 at 50 mil market cap and $50,000 at 10 mil market cap. Massive difference. You'll still get gains. You'll still win. But you're going to hate yourself for it. Because you're always going to be like, well, it could have been 5 times more than that. And trust me, I've dealt with it. With Shiba Inu, I've dealt with it. I sold my bag of Shiba Inu 8x less than what it could have been. And I still think about that shit. I'm good. I haven't worked for somebody in years. I still take vacations. I'm still living off that money. And I've got a long time to live off that money. But I'm telling you right now, an 8x of that number, that's just yacht money. That's owning a yacht and not even giving a damn about it. That's buying a yacht and just leaving it in Italy just because. Like, there's that type of money. So don't think that a 5 or 8x can change everything, because maybe PulseChain goes to 1 cent, and maybe that $50,000 turns into $8 million. So absolutely, you fucking killed it. But guess what? The difference between $5 and $8 million, how about you multiply that by 5? Now you tell me this. The NFL contract guy that's making $5 million a year, the wide receiver that's making $5 million a year, and the quarterback is making $25 million a year, who would you rather be? You get a contract making $8 million, you smash it, you killed it. But guess what? That 8 probably should have been 40. Big difference, isn't it? Massive difference. After taxes, your 8 mil is now 4 mil. After taxes, your 40 mil is now 20 mil. Now, guess what? What can you buy for $4 million? You can buy a real nice house, a nice lot, and then you're broke. Then you're broke.
$4 million, you got a house, you got a paid for house, and then you could take dividends on 200K, 150K, something.
You ain't gonna be able to afford that house, man.
Yeah. But
difference between 20 mil, you buy that 4 mil house, you can put that 20 mil and you can make $400,000 a year on that.
Yeah.
Just sitting on it, making 400 G's a year on that. And now you can afford that and then some and live like a king. That's the difference between a 5X. I'm telling you guys, I've dealt with it with shit because I ran the numbers. I'm like, fuck, like I've got a nice house, fucking nice house, but damn, like I could have tripled I got a nice car, but I could have tripled my car. I could have, these are things you got to think about when you're at these lows. Not trying to pick the bottom. Think about the X's that you're potentially missing out on. How much lower do you think pTGC and PulseChain can actually go? How much lower do you think Bitcoin can go? And start thinking X's. Stop looking at the exact number and then look at the average and just really see if you can absolutely smash it. And if you got money, if you don't have any money to throw at the chart and do that, then that's fine. Like you just hodl and you just take the gains from the taxes, when people come in and come out. But if you do and you're thinking, you're just like, oh, like the individual. Let's just be for real. The individual that just blew $150,000 with their PGC because they got scared. All right, let's be for real. They paid what, 8-9 grand to get out. And they have to buy the exact amount. So they don't have 140,000 now? So they're going to do it again. So now they got about 130,000? That's if they get the exact same price. If they decide to get in at a 30 mil market cap, bro, not only did you lost a 3x on your coins, you paid taxes, which is a crazy amount of your bucket. You're really coming back in with maybe you got to divide that 150 divided by 3, which is 50,000. So you lost 50 of your 3. You're going in with, and then you lost another 15,000 from taxes. Sheesh, you're getting demolished. So your 150,000 minus 85,000 in value, you're getting $65,000 when you had 150. So it's not even the buying part. It's also the selling part where you're getting wrecked. And I always say, if you're scared now, why weren't you scared at $50 million market cap? You could have fucking, that was $1 million, 10x ago. You know what I mean? So what are you doing? So now, if individuals are just holding USDC because they were scared of protecting their value, you, Mr. Individuals, need to learn how to trade. You need to learn how to swing trade. You should have took profit earlier. So if you find yourself struggling with that and you're wanting to sell, you have a lot to learn in crypto. So I don't know if the individuals in here, it's not even that. It's not even being an asshole. It's just you guys got to learn from that. Because once again, I've been in that same situation where I've sold Polygon at the absolute low because I held it for 2 years and it did absolutely nothing. And I've told this story public many times. And I put that shit, I forgot what I put that shit into. And it didn't do no Polygon, I'll tell you that much. But when I saw Polygon start taking off, that's when I created the rule of delete. Once you leave a coin, delete it. Delete it from your watch list because that should have mind fuck you like no other. So if you're out, you shouldn't be up in this. you shouldn't be up in this chat right now because you're gonna feel it. And now 6 months, you're gonna feel it.
Yeah, we're on 11 red months in a row on PulseChain, and pTGC is obviously related with that, right? And if you're going into stables and ETH after 11 red months,
bro,
it's hard. You know what I mean? It's just, I get it because I know it's in a situation for a lot of people. You see value here and it goes down. I feel for them, but I just feel like it's the worst time to do that because, the levels, ETH at the 500, Bitcoin at the 300, PulseChain at 11 red months in a row, pTGC ratio down against PulseChain, looking at a pretty strong support level. USD price at a strong support level, and then you see someone capitulate right there, and it's just like, ooh, gosh. Like,
Which what you should always do, if you are that scared, 5% of that number take out and see how it makes you feel. Sometimes people react to just like knee-jerk reaction, and it's just like that 150,000 got scooped up so fast. It says, suck up, thank you. Now, if you did 5,000 and it was just sitting there, it's probably not that bad. I tell people never sell a wick. Never sell a wick. It will always get scooped up back within the wick just to test to see if it wants to go there. And wicks will get refilled also. But when you're selling a wick, I cringe because I tell people all the time, never sell into the wick because you are literally the wick creating the wick. So when you sell into the wick, the chances of you getting that back is so small. And you think you're doing yourself a favor. And you think you're saving yourself. You're not. Even if there is something wrong. I'll give an example. Luna. We all remember Luna. You know how much that wick got filled up to where people just like, they did sell it, but like they didn't know where the bottom was at. And it just kept going and it kept going and it kept going. But like people bought that wick back up because DJs came into play. And all of a sudden, in one trading session, Luna is up like a 50x. So it's like, even in the most craziest scenarios, the wick gets picked up. Now, it doesn't stay up, but that's why I say give it one trading day. You hear it, sell a little bit, and then give it one trading day. A lot of times you'll notice that wick gets picked right back up. And what happens? It got picked right back up and went to 19 mil. Just on some false news that some protocol decided to give out that it wasn't even real. It was just a bunch of bullshit. But you reacted. And because you reacted, you lost money. Did you lose money? No. In your eyes, you saved money. But when that fucking protocol, when PGC turns around, it goes to 30 mil just in the blink of an eye. I've said this before. I said this when we were at 20 mil, we went to 50 mil. And I said, this is what's going to happen. You're going to sit here, you're going to look at it, you're going to be like, well, should I get it? Can I get in that 20 million? You're going to do the exact same thing here. And there's going to come a time where it just doesn't go back. And that's just the reality of crypto. So, yeah, it's a learning lesson for that individual. Now he's got to find a coin to go in and become a new supporter of the coin and act like they were all about the coin the whole time and really just lying to yourself. Usually that's what happens. They move on and they try to find a reason why they moved on. When in reality, the real reason why is because you got scared during the bear market. So I hope it's a learning lesson for many people. Look at it, see it. I don't just talk just to pump my bags. I also come with experience, and my fuck ups. And I tell you why I think the way I think. So you hear me saying the same stuff over and over and over again, week in and week out. And then you see scenarios that matches that scenario. And you're just like, see, because I've done this shit before. I've been here, been there, done that. So,
You know, one good example of it is if you look at like the PLS ratio chart, and I think it was at the beginning of this year, or maybe end of last year, our ratio got down to 5-1 against PulseChain. And there was obviously people selling that, and that's how you get there. But then we climbed all the way back up to
20.
the 18-19 to 1 ratio within a couple months. The market wasn't ready to go yet, right? The whole market, but that was during a slight uptrend of the market. Market got rejected, came back down, and now we're back down to these prices. But just think of that, like that ratio right there. It went from 5 all the way back up to 20. That's a 4x on your PulseChain. If there was a time that you're gonna pull something, it was up there. It's not down here, right? And it just seems like on repeat sometimes, like you see the sells down here again, just like the last time, but then it finds its bottom and money starts flowing back into the market, and then we climb our way back up. And eventually we hope we're going to break through that 20 to 1 resistance level and go into our all-time highs. But
usually the third time you do, you hit it, you get decline. The second time you hit it, it's like breaking. It's on. Look at it as a. Let's say we're a ninja and we're gonna hit a board, try to crack through that board. You hit it the first time, you're like, fuck, messed up on that one. No, I didn't break through. My technique was wrong. Second time, boom, you see a little crack in the wood. Dang, I couldn't get that. The third time, crack, you go through the wood. That's what resistance and support lines are like.
Yeah.
So the more you hit it, the easier it is to freaking crack.
Yeah, we have like a trend line because our all-time high was 22 to 1. And then we came all the way down. I forget what we went to, but then we went all the way back up to like 20. And then we came all the way back down. Then we went to 5 to 1 ratio. And we went all the way up to like 18, 19. There's a line being formed. So that's kind of the question is we're going to go at that line, or if we re-go at that line, right? That's the goal. Do we break through this time?
Even if you're bearish. Yeah, gotta finish.
Yeah. And then you look at where we are in the cycle, and it seems like the next go up is actually this cycle's bull cycle, right? If you're going off of the traditional cycle. So that gives us so much more momentum going at that ratio again, because it's actually a bull run, hopefully, where the 2 previous times we hit it was actually on the downtrend of this.
Yeah.
And that's why we kept getting rejected.
Even if you're bearish, from a trader's perspective, pure trader's perspective, you would actually buy at this level and probably sell it at like 15 if you didn't even like the pTGC. There's no way in your mind that you would sell here. Even if you're bearish, the bears would be like, you're an idiot. That's basically what that chart is saying.
Yeah,
Now, there's going to come a time where the bear is going to win or the bull is going to win. But it looks like PulseChain's going up right now. And PTGC is going up right now, slowly, but it is going up. So even if you were bearish, you're looking at this saying, okay, I'm going to buy it here, and then I'm going to at least 3x my PulseChain. And then I'm going to sell it. I don't even like PTGC. But that's a trading perspective. I don't care about the asset. I just want to buy it. I want to trade. You're an idiot for selling max bags at this level, even from a bearish trading perspective, because what you would do is you would want 3 to 4 drives, which would give you bearish divergence, which would allow you to actually break the lows. But in order to do that, you're going to have to go back up to like 14, 15 pTGC to PLS, then turn down again, and you might be right. But if you're selling at the low levels, you're not doing it right. You're being emotional. You don't understand charts. You don't understand trading. And if you've listened to me long enough to say trading is not real, it doesn't work, then excuse my language, but you got some type of retardation or something. I don't know, because this shit doesn't work.
Yeah, the people telling me the price wants it to go under 5 because they know buying pTGC under the 5 ratio is like literally grabbing free pTGC because it's going to bounce easily, and you can literally sell at a double and keep half of your bag and pay yourself completely out.
Correct.
Completely back.
It makes 0 sense to sell below.
Like pTGC will buy that level because it's like, wow, I could just pick up free pTGC when the ratio, has a bounce. Because we know when PulseChain starts its uptrend, that ratio starts increasing. Just mathematically, it's happened every single time because of all of our other LP pools increasing against PulseChain, because that's how liquidity pools work. Even if no one's buying up pTGC, the code is, and the other LP pools will pull us up faster than PLS, you can increase your ratio for free pretty much. And
here's also another thing that happens. And these are just just through my years of crypto, the haters all of a sudden become believers. And you'll see them start creeping in the Telegram, talking about pTGC a little bit.
Yep.
That is their goal. They want to double, triple their amount, and they want to take half and then live on a free ride with it. They'll still shit on it. They don't care, but now it's low enough for them to do what they want. So you'll notice them trickling into the Telegram, tweeting a little bit more about pTGC. It's probably because they have a bag now, and I guarantee you they're going to try to pump it up to where it's a free ride to a 20 mil, 30 mil market cap, take out half, and then act like they were fans the whole time. And if it doesn't work against them, you'll hear them like fudding and do things like that. That's usually what happens during these times like this. So just be very aware of that also. The creeps that, at one time was talking shit on pTGC. They don't like tax tokens. It'll never work. All of a sudden have a bag. We noticed that with PDI. Oh, PDI don't work. PDI is a scam. It inflates. Oh, then at Penny, PDI. Oh, well, yeah, like PDI can get to $1. And all of a sudden, that's what's going to happen with pTGC at these levels. So just kind of be aware of it. Realize what happens. And just see the whole picture for what it is. And then once you see it, you'll be like, yeah, that's what B-Rich is talking about. And then apply that to your future crypto career. Also, that's how I was able to tell you guys when we were in PDI, when I did that Rocky video, and I was like, oh, the Hexicans are hating on it. And then at this price, the Hexicans come in. I made that video like 8 months before it even happened. And to the T, that's exactly what happened. Why did I make that video? Because I just know how this shit goes. In every cycle, the people are the same, and they do the same thing, and you don't even realize it's just reading a book. So it's very easy to just see how people react, because they all react the exact same way.
B is smart. I love listening to him. I'll be honest, man.
Do you think Pulse is due for a good bounce at least at these levels right now, B? Chart-wise? You got anything on YouTube, Banana?
Polygon.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was on mute. I do have an answer for you.
Okay.
There's a guy that I listen to. That I've been listening to for 10 years, minimum 10 years. And his name is Tone Base. He's an old school Bitcoin guy. He actually interviewed with Richard Hart and just hates Richard Hart. But there's one thing he's really good at, and it is trading. He's a long-term swing trader. And he has a indicator that's actually very hard to learn. It's not hard. It's actually very easy, but like a lot of people don't want to follow it, but it works. It's called the MRI. And anytime you have 12 candles in a row, whether it's on the hourly, 4 hourly, in this case, monthly, you are an idiot not to buy that. Because usually in assets, and he's got so many examples of this, on the 13th month, you wish you bought that 12th month. It's crazy how it works, but it fucking works. So when I see 11 months, 12, I'm like, bro, you can see 11. And then 12 is like barely a red, and they'll probably give you a doji candle. And you're just like, this shit's about to reverse. That 13th month, you're like, fuck.
So you're saying you buy the 12 months, the month we're in right now, and then the 13th month, which is August, is usually
the freaking, yeah. Sometimes the 13th month will set in the bottom and make that bottom. But at the end of the day, when you look at the end of that reversal, even if it's a shitty chart, why do you guys think you hear? Even if PulseChain does a lower high on the monthly time frame, it's still going to make your jaw drop. It's still a bearish chart if it does a lower high on the monthly time frame, but that's gains to be made, whether you're bearish or bullish. Once again, trading has no emotions. It's just a bunch of measurements of buys versus sells. That's all it is. And there's indicators that work, and you can go back to history and be like, yo, that shit fucking works. Like that's legit. That's right. Like that, it works. You can go back into history and say it works. You can't deny it. That's one of them. And when you see that 12th candle into that 13th candle, dude, it's weird how it just freaking bounces hardcore off of it. And what I think it is, it's bullish divergence on the monthly, and it has to react the exact opposite way, whether you're bullish or bearish. Now the bears will say, well, it's going to fucking stop at four zeros and an 8 or 4 zeros and a 1, because this thing is going to create a lower high and it's just going to keep going down and down and down and down and forever. But nothing goes straight down. There's always going to be bounces. And it feels like it's only been going straight down. But we're in bounce territory just on that indicator alone. So I would not bet money because it's just, there's no emotions, it's probabilities. We're counting cards. What I'm telling you right now is you're counting cards. And in the next 2 months, you have the ability to get blackjack. Are you going to bet more chips? Knowing that you're cheating the system and you have this system that said, yo, it's time to freaking bounce. Are you going to bet more chips, or are you going to bet the same amount of chips? Or are you going to sit there on the sidelines knowing that a blackjack is coming up and not bet at all? If you're not going to bet at all or bet lower chips, why the fuck are you playing blackjack? And why are you counting cards? That's basically what I'm saying, is this month or next month, the bounce is coming. And it's going to be a serious bounce. Then you hold your breath, because that lower high is coming. There will be a lower high no matter what. It might, who knows where that lower high is at? The crazy thing with PulseChain is, fuck, bro, that lower high can be stack price. That's the crazy thing. You don't even know where the lower high is going to be at. It's going to be a lower high because you have to W out. So think of a W. It goes straight down, and then it W's up, and then it comes down again with a higher low. Bull market, you become absolutely wealthy. But right now, we're in the straight down part of the W. We have to create a lower high right now. I don't know where that lower high is going to be. I'll be able to look at lower time frames and say, okay, I think we're topping out here. This is it. And then after that lower high, you hold your breath, because you're like, please don't go lower. Please don't go lower. Please don't go lower. Please don't go lower. And then it stops, and it doesn't go lower, and it turns around, goes higher. You're now in an uptrend, buddy. That's what's going to happen with Bitcoin. One of these days, it's going to go up. It ain't going to go straight to 124,000. No, it's going to go up. It's going to stop at 80, 85, and then pray. That's the 10K and pray. You need a 10K and pray at that lower high. Like, that's the 10K and pray. And that's why I say you'll never buy. Earlier when I said, well, when pTGC goes to 30K, you're never going to buy. You know why? Because then you're like, please don't go lower. Is it going to go lower? Who knows? Nobody knows that answer. So if you have an opportunity to buy in that first downtrend, all the way at the down to the W, that's where we're at. And I've even Luna didn't freaking go down for 13 months. Like, Luna has bounces. Look at the Luna chart. Notice how it has bounces. I'm sorry, but I'm sure Richard Hart can say one thing, and even if it doesn't even mean anything, he can make a chart bounce. It might get sold into, but the shit will at least try to bounce.
Yo.
So these are facts. Like, this is what it is. But I wouldn't sell month 12, month 13. You're an idiot. I'd say that straight to your face. It's just, you're an idiot if you're selling hardcore at 12 or 13th month. going into a bullish time potentially. And by bullish, I mean, I'm not saying, hey, we're going straight to freaking new all-time highs. It's just the chart, the sentiment starts becoming more bullish, and you're going opposite of that.
Yeah, like it's not straight up and to the right. We're so low now. It's going to be somewhat of a grind upward too. There's some serious resistance levels, like the 4 zeros and a 3 that used to be our all-time low for PulseChain before the ProveX sacrifice came out. Like I'm some serious stuff there. But from this level, like that's a 5x from here.
That's what I'm saying. We what's the max that we've seen? A 6x?
I think 5-6x on PulseChain today.
I think the next 5-6x for PulseChain on pTGC is 100 mil to 150 mil.
Yeah.
I'm not saying PulseChain does a 6x, we're going straight back to all-time high. That's very conservative in my opinion. Because we've already seen 55 mil during the bearish of the bearish times. We went from 20 mil to 55 mil. And PulseChain didn't even do it 2x. PulseChain didn't even do it 2x that day. It was still going down.
It did a 50% up move in a matter of a couple weeks, and we did a X plus or whatever. I think we got to 18 mil market cap, and then, like you said, up to 55. Obviously, came back down. Now we're at the 13. But
yeah, if PulseChain gets going to where it does a 6x, I think we get the 30 mil, the 50 mil very easy, and then we do half of what we did last time. So I do think if we do a 5 or 6x to 4 zeros and a 3, then yeah, we're going right to 100 mil. I don't count going back to 30 mil as X's. I count that as our baseline. Because it was so easy to get there twice. So I don't even think it'd be that hard. Because you know what? There's so much money on the sidelines of people who are all about pTGC that they'll get us there alone. That doesn't even count for fucking the PulseChain side of things. For example, that $150,000 guy, he's buying in $130,000 worth of pTGC at 30 mil. Guaranteed. I don't care if he put that money in another coin, blah, blah, blah. He's going to start, because that's his baby. That's what made him lose that money. He sees it starts flying again. He's swapping out whatever that coin is, and he's going into pTGC, back into it. Guaranteed. And there's a lot of those people, too.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that have their own unique plans. You know, I specifically know someone that just felt it was bear. We were in a bear market, you know, a year plus ago, and they were going into stables just to buy more pTGC at the bottom. And he's someone that's very, very four-year stuff. He was obviously right, you know what I mean? And he's sitting on stuff, but there's no guarantee of these values ever coming back. This is just kind of things I hear here and there. But there is value on the sideline looking at the pTGC bottom and for the pTGC bottom for sure.
I mean, there's good people like you. I mean, I'm one of them. Like if I've got coins on different chains, a multi-chain. I want to try to make as much money as possible to make the most money on the coins that I think are going to do the best this cycle. So that's just the kind of trader I am. It's what I teach. I mean, it is what I am. So like, I'm one of them. I have figures on other chains that are not on PulseChain. So like, if I see a massive turnaround and that coin's not doing anything, guess what? That money's coming back home. It's just how it is. It's just what's going to happen. Because that's just how this thing works. Like, it's just how it works. Some people just got money sitting on the sidelines. Some people swing trade. Some people go degen elsewhere, make gains elsewhere, bring it back to wherever they want to make it. There's a lot of different characters in the sit and hold type characters. So if you don't think pTGC goes back to the 30 mil market cap and it's going to make everybody start thinking, including me, then I don't know what to say to you. There's only so many projects that are still building and doing well on PulseChain. way less than when PulseChain first came out. So just know that I think there are two projects: Peacock, pTGC. Everything else, trash. So that value is going to go in one of three areas: cores, which I don't think is going to go cores because I think it's so wrecked that people are losing faith in like that whole like VCA and cores type deal. But I do think a massive good amount of it goes back into cores. Peacock or pTGC. So which one do you pick?
pTGC.
Yeah, the money that goes into cores, I think, is just users like buying a 95% dip for stack rate, right? Like that's, they're like, hey, back to stack rate, that's a 20x. Like they're all at all-time lows. Like, yeah, they're up a little bit from their all-time low, but they're at all-time lows. And I think those are why people speculate on those at this point. It's just that they're at all-time lows.
I just don't think cores will outperform some of the big altcoins that were created, like a Peacock or a pTGC. Like it's just not. So I just think those are those hardcore.
If you guys just basic math, basic like how LPs function, basic math of them, there's no way they should, unless there's just mega sell pressure within those sub ecosystems. But reflexivity wise, like when you look at pTGC and how it's structured, when value flows into PulseChain, when value flows into PulseX, it all pumps pTGC. So we pick up just a little bit of a bid on top of that and do an additional 2x. There's no reason why we shouldn't. When we have UFO that's going to be buying and burning pTGC, we have pTGC that's buying and burning pTGC, and we'll have the DAO buying and burning pTGC. There's no reason why we shouldn't be able to pick up at least a little bit of an additional bid, and we'll get all the X's from all the things we're connected to anyway.
Yeah, it's I mean, at this point, I can understand people doing like a hex. PulseX, no. Hex, I can understand. PulseChain, definitely not. Like, I just don't, like, at this point, it's just like, why would you hold PulseChain at this point? Anything else, I can understand why you think, like, why you want to speculate, whether it's because you held the bag down 95% or it's because you actually truly believe in it. I just don't think, I don't know, man. I'm just like, it's got a thick liquidity bag with the pair. I just don't see how you think that holding PulseChain is going to benefit you more than some of the protocols on PulseChain itself. Just doesn't make sense.
The hex move, I think a lot of people think that that's Richard's baby, and if there's something he's going to push funds into, it's hex. As far as PulseX, I think a lot of people like the fact that it's got the buy and burn and that they've seen Richard buy that token up a few times now. Like that's the one he has pushed value towards. And that's the one I think I see the PulseChain community favoring in general right now. Obviously, the OG Hex guys will always favor the OG Hex, but like as far as the new generation of PulseChain users, as far as RH tickers, I see them favoring PulseX the most. It looks like Richard's favoring in that one the most too, in my opinion. That's when we've seen live trades of his, it's gone towards PulseX. But that's why we have those pairs. So if those ever do go, we get to reap those rewards. Obviously, that hasn't happened to date. They're only down since we added those LPs. But if they ever do go, we're good with those pairs. You got anything on YouTube, Banana?
No, there isn't. There isn't anything on YouTube except one just jumped in. One just popped in. C7 says that's the only thing I disagree with you guys on. Big investors will only buy the L1. Don't shade the L1, guys. That's a fair point. I think they're also going to come in and speculate on assets on the L1 though too.
They will absolutely speculate only on the L1, but that's not the people we're talking about. It's like 5 to 10 people. A lot of those big investors, I know personally. Hell, I know famous people that got more money than any of these people on the chain. They'll make Godwill look stupid. They're in pTGC. So they're always willing to speculate. I know an individual is more famous than anyone you know. And I guarantee you know his name. He owns pTGC.
Yo, that's cool.
So, so when you try to say, oh, they will only, no. The guy that owns 0 PulseChain, he owns pTGC. And I guarantee you, if that guy's sacrificed, he's probably worth anywhere near. Well, let me look it up. I saw his house that he sold. Sold for like 20 mil. And it was just like a second, third house.
I agree with that comment, though. It's, there's a group of people that come into cryptocurrency that are not even willing to look at tokens on the chain. They see the chain going up, the L1, and they'll just park a large amount in the L1. But yeah, what we were talking about, B, was the people who are looking for the most gains on a layer 1.
Correct.
And if they're looking for the most gains, the layer 1 itself has usually never been the answer, at least for a single cycle, because there's always going to be the plays on the layer 1 that work with reflexivity. But yeah, some people just don't have time or feel like they have the knowledge to dig into sub tokens on a specific chain, and they'll just park the value in the main L1, which obviously is a safe bet. On PulseChain today, it hasn't been a safe bet, but in an uptrend, it's a safe bet.
Certain individuals are worth 100 mil. Just Google it. They own 0 PulseChain. They own 0 Hex. Well, no, it's not true. They do own some PulseX, but was like, how the fuck did I get out of it? And he put it all into pTGC. So his bag of pTGC is bigger than what it would have been if he just held PulseX. So it still went down. So he's like, come on, man. But at the same time, he looks at his PulseX and is like, well, glad I didn't keep it there. And those guys, they're worth 100 mil. So that's these are a lot of people make the exact same choices you make. They're no different than you. Just because they have a bunch of money sometimes, just don't think that they are necessary, quote unquote, smart money. I'm not saying that didn't do that smart money, but like they don't, or they just only want the L1. There are a section of people that are like that, but you have to remember, man, like all these people are considered degens. Anyone that invested in Bitcoin in 2008 are degens. You know why? Because they went against the grain and went to something more risky. Michael Saylor is a DJ. You know why? He comes from the traditional market and he went into Bitcoin and his peers looked at him as a DJ. All those people that are saying L1s only, they look at us as DJs. We're all in the same bucket. We all think the same way. It's just a matter of what level you think of that. Always remember that. And most degens always want more. They can't walk away. Michael Saylor, massive company, MicroStrategy, wants more. Warren Buffett, why do you think he owns $350 million sitting on the sidelines? Because he wants more. Warren Buffett in itself is a degen. He might be a safe degen, but he's a degen. Why? Because he's never satisfied. He's always looking for something else. That's basically what a degen is. It's just a matter of what level of degen you are. But I do think when PTGC gets to its all-time high, we can do a nice little pTGC video with this guy, and everybody's gonna be like, "Oh,
cool.
crap!" I was hoping to do it last year, but didn't happen. So when it happens, I think that's going to be a video that will get a look here. Just put it that way.
Yeah, cool.
Until then, he's anonymous.
Uh-huh. Well, I look forward to potentially seeing a video with that gentleman. That's cool. That would be fun. Well, Zen, you there, man? I know you are.
Yeah, I'm here. You got any questions on YouTube?
Nothing on YouTube except for people are asking for an update on UFO. So perhaps a little snippet if you're willing before we jump off.
Yeah. So auditing went great. Testing went great. Was super happy with the tokenomics, the features. Can go into that a little bit if anyone has questions on it. Right now, we're just kind of waiting for launch for our block explorer to get working again. Yesterday or the day before, the block explorer just stopped working for us, and just not a good time to launch a token and stuff with no block explorer. So yeah, we're just kind of waiting on PulseChain's block explorer to become reliable again. But testing went good, audit went good. Features.
You cut out there.
Move them here, move them back.
You said features, something like that?
Yeah.
Is there any way to use a separate block explorer? Like, I know there's a few out there. Is it something we even want to do? Or no? Or can do?
I'm sure I can. It would be a combination of pushing my devs towards a different block explorer and myself, like one we're not familiar with exactly. And obviously that's possible if it doesn't come back in the next day or two. But for us, it was kind of like, do we completely try this new block explorer, or do we just wait a couple days to see if the original one works for us? But yeah, if it never starts working again, that's obviously what we're going to have to do.
Okay. Yeah. Now I am interested in the tokenomics. You touched on that or mentioned it, and I'm sure people would be interested in hearing what the tokenomics are.
Yeah. So just to remind everything, one thing we went with the new UFO contract, with the advancement of AI and how advanced it's getting and how advanced it's going to be in a couple years and more. We went with a very simple design for obvious reasons. Just so it's a very simple set of code, makes it less room for there to be issues and stuff like that. Obviously, with AI evolving, simplicity is good. With the last 3 years of being able to study these systems, we know what drives the value of these systems. We know how to drive the value. We know how to generate the value. We know what generates their value. And knowledge, we figured out the best way to create the simple contract, but still get all the value out of the system that we can. So this system is only one contract. It's not, it doesn't have the farms or anything like that. This has no LP providing. If you want to provide LP, you can, but you're going to have to pay the fee in and out, just like any old swap, and you're not going to earn the PLS rewards. You're just going to get the normal LP providing rewards. Where the value is going is to pTGC buy and burn, new UFO buy and burn, 1% of the fee going to LP with Ethereum, one with PulseX, one with Pulse, and then 1% reflections. But one cool thing about the new UFO token is all of these percents are adjustable at any point. So if for some reason we want to adjust the weight from the LPs from ETH to Pulse and PulseX heavier, we can adjust the weight. If we want to go ETH heavier, we can adjust the weight. So the weights of the fees are adjustable at any point, but we can't change where those fees are actually like going, right? Like we can't say, hey, we want this fee to go to this wallet, right? And take the value from the community. All we can say is, hey, we want the value to go in this direction instead. So that kind of gives us a pivotability in a very, very simple contract to adjust with the ever evolving crypto space, but still with a simple set of code. Simple set of code, again, I think is just super important. 2 years ago when UFO was created, we did not think that AI would be getting to these levels so quickly. And from what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing, like AI is going to start rapidly increasing into 2027. Like it's going to get insane. So we want to still be able to generate the revenue like we know works, but we want to keep that as simple as possible. And I'm just excited for that. I'm excited for, hold on one second, my kid is climbing. Sorry, my fence has the pickets horizontal and my daughter climbs it like a ladder sometimes. And obviously I don't like that. So what I was saying is I'm excited for the simplicity, but also making sure that we have the value going in the directions that knows works. But then on top of that, because we don't have the farms anymore, we've been able to redirect the value to, instead of going to LP providers in the form of Pulse, it's going to protocol-owned liquidity. And whenever protocol-owned liquidity is provided, half of that has to stay in the native token. So in this case, UFO. So we're actually increasing the buy pressure on every single transaction by 1.5% staying in the new UFO token. So this is buy pressure that the old UFO never got to actually have because it was going out in PLS. So I'm excited to see UFO have more buy pressure on it. It's definitely more favorable to new holders and price appreciation, which is great for pTGC because if UFO is picking up new buyers and having price appreciation, that drags up pTGC, good volume, buys and burns pTGC. So we like all those things. So I'm just excited for it in general. Obviously, it was a lemon of a situation, but I'm happy to kind of look the silver lining of the situation and turn this lemon into lemonade. And hopefully, when this comes out again, it starts buying and burning pTGC at these lows and take a lot of pTGC off the market.
Is all 6% of the fee adjustable, or only that which is being added to LP?
All 6% is adjustable. It can even be adjusted down, but never
up.
Never up. Yeah, 6% max.
Interesting. Any questions, guys? Meaning never up, meaning never up more than 6%.
Correct. Yeah.
I like it. It sounds very much like pTGC's ability to, pivot on a dime with those DAO funds.
Yeah, I think with so much more of the value being pushed towards Call itself and not to LP providers, it's going to do a lot for the price appreciation of the protocol. And obviously the value going towards protocol owned LP is also good for onboarding, right? Like the thing with farms is all the LP is technically owned by community members, and those community members can decide to leave at any point. Obviously, how we counteracted that with UFO is with UFO shares. We incentivized people who had large positions to stay with these UFO shares. But in exchange of that, we had to give up half of our fees. Half of the value that we generated had to go out to these people to incentivize them to stay. So now we're, instead of incentivizing people to stay, we're actually putting that towards protocol-owned LP, and that's accessible within the fee system. And we'll see how it does. I think that with so much more of the attention, instead of on the new early UFO LP incentivizing them to stay, with more attention on protocol-owned LP plus that value staying in the UFO token is going to be not only great for the UFO holders, like even for the LP providers. Like if we can get an additional 5x out of this cycle because of the new fee structure than that we would have had, like the PLS rewards that you would have received are nothing compared to 5x, right? Even an additional 2x for the most part. So I'm just excited to see what this could do for price appreciation. Obviously, more appreciation means more LP web. It equals more engagement. More engagement means more buy and burns of pTGC. So I'm hoping this is just a breath of fresh air for the community, and we'll see what it can do.
All right. Blue Diesel is asking if pTGC is leveraged on Pulse and Pulse is leveraged on ETH, is the new UFO leverage on pTGC? Is it riskier?
Well, it's a lower market cap, but I do think there's a lot of value in the pTGC community itself. Like it's pretty obvious that they work for the mothership of the ecosystem, which is pTGC. Pretty much everything that gets onboarded, from what I can tell, usually get onboarded to pTGC first and with larger amounts. Sometimes the value does trickle down. They throw, let's say, 90% of their speculating bag in pTGC, 10% into UFO. Maybe that evens out a little bit more in the future. Who knows? I don't think there's any way of saying like, you're going to get more X's here because the market cap's lower, right? That is not the case in cryptocurrency. That's what people love to tell you because they want you to buy their low market cap token, and they usually sell on you and then move to the new low market cap token the following week. So just because something's a lower market cap does not mean it's going to produce more X's, right? Like look at Bitcoin pretty much compared to every altcoin in existing this last cycle. Like everything's down 95% and Bitcoin isn't. So I do think there's value in the bigger play, that being pTGC, in that they are connected or not connected. No, I think they're very much connected. The success of pTGC helps the success of UFO. The success of UFO helps the success of pTGC, right? If UFO, because of these new tokens, are more successful, this helps pTGC buy and burn. Obviously, UFO is one of the best holders of pTGC ever. In the last year or 2 years, it's bought in like 1.3 whale positions, and it's all gone to the debt address, never to be sold again. So if we can keep it at this level or increase it, like, that's a massive buyer of pTGC in the future, and a buyer that will never sell on the holders. But yeah, if pTGC is successful, I think UFO is going to be super successful. Both cycle, when PulseChain went up 5x, both pTGC and UFO both did like a 50x. No guarantees that happens again, but previously, every single time PulseChain has moved up, pTGC and UFO have moved up more. I think where we're at now is we need to find this bottom. We need ETH and PulseChain to mark their bottoms and hopefully start an actual uptrend and not just a relief rally. And we'll see where it can take us.
Yeah, man.
And then we'll keep doing during that relief rally, or actual bull market, we'll keep buying, burning supply, keep adding LP, and keep paying rewards. And just keep shoving the value we generate every single day into all the places that matter. Every day is different. Some days more, some days less, but every single day we wake up and there's more value in the places that matter. So it's a constant step in the right direction. Some days it's a big step, some days it's a small step, but it's always in that right direction.
Yeah, man. All right, we'll have spaces again on Monday, and we might even talk about this some more. So I like it. I like what I'm hearing, man.
Yeah, we'll see what the block score gives us over the weekend.
Yeah, hopefully it opens up soon. It'd be cool to toss a new UFO token into green candles on PulseChain and crypto in general. That'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's fun to, even though I also like the older charts to show the history and show where we've been and what we've gone through. I also think it's a cool marketing piece for our community to have a brand new chart. And where UFO sits right now is pretty much the exact price it sat at launch, but there's a difference. PulseChain right now is 10x lower than when UFO launched. So we have a massive price appreciation tool to use this cycle that we never had last cycle. And obviously we had no lack of gains last cycle, but we're currently still we're hitting that 2 mil market cap again. This is exactly where UFO sat for a few months right when it launched. Uptrend of PulseChain started, went from to 100 mil. Now sitting around that range again. PulseChain very much can go to the same levels it went to last time, but the difference isn't a 5x increase from PulseChain, or actually it was like roughly the same exact price. Pulse was like the same price as when UFO launched also. And now we actually can get X's from PulseChain going back to those same levels. So I think it's just better set up and it's a fresh chart. And some people like charts that start fresh in that cycle. There is some users that actually want to buy a brand new token in that brand new cycle.
Yeah, man.
There's also some users that want previous cycle tokens because they want the history there. But I think what this offers is a different way of looking at it. Like, hey, we have 3 years of knowledge of studying these systems. We know where the value is. We know how to generate the value. And we also know where AI is at this point, and we can see how fast it's increasing. Like, I think everyone's going to be, I remember when like AI first started coming out a year, 2 years ago, and people were generating horrible images with it. Right when it hit, they're like throwing images up on Twitter, and their images were horrible. And that's all people were using it for. Within 1 year, 2 years, it's at this point now. Like 2-3 years from now, it's going to get to a point where it's actually scary for humanity, let alone cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
But I definitely think taking a simple and robust approach is the safest way for the new UFO system.
Awesome. I love it. I love the mindset going into a new protocol with the vision for the future and securing the future of the new protocol based on what could happen in the future, especially with AI. That's cool. And it's almost as if pTGC was launched the same way, man. But
well, the main thing about both tokens is what we took very, very seriously was the security of.
Lost you, man.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you were talking about what we were taking serious was the security. That's where we lost you.
Right.
Yep.
So no value was ever lost. Yes, there was that bug introduced by someone arbing the pools with finding the loophole, but no value was actually ever lost. So in this migration, it didn't lose any steps. We just kind of put a pause on the whole situation for a month while we got it all worked out. And that's one thing I still feel very confident in, is that the value is still there for the community and it wasn't lost to some bad actor or anything like that, which is a whole lot better than most things of this complexity out there. And obviously with this new system, we're going even simpler to hopefully make it to where there isn't any of these little loopholes in the future as well. But again, it's all self-custody still, which is great, right? We're able to pay an APY, able to generate revenue without users giving up custody of their tokens. And this is really what holds a lot of the value within this ecosystem. And now we're going to have burned liquidity too, which we never had that prior with the old UFO.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, if you guys are ready to call it, I'm ready to call it.
I'm ready. Hope you guys have a good weekend, good 4th of July celebration, and it's nice to have some green. To go.
Thanks for coming in, Moon King.
Yeah.
Banana, thanks for co-hosting with me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. I love being here.
Hope you guys have a good 4th.
You too, Zan.
Everyone, thanks for coming in and listening. Again, I'm working as fast as I can with the new UFO. Most important thing is just making sure it gets launched right and that all the testing, and again, we're kind of waiting on PulseChain right now. Hopefully that block explorer, the main one, gets up and running. If it doesn't, obviously, like B says, there's other block explorers out there. We can look into using some of those. We were hoping it wasn't like a long-term waiting thing. So hopefully we're up and running, start buying and burning pTGC again, and obviously start doing our thing with UFO itself again too.
Yeah, I'm excited to have the new one and start tracking it and all that. It's going to be great.
Yeah. All right, guys. Yeah, have a good Saturday.
You too, Zen. Close that out. So learned something new about you, Crypto 7. You really like lemonade. Cracking me up, man. But you can't handle the lime, right? Dude. We probably needed some laughter. Then thank you for the comments. Appreciate it. Yeah, and thank you, Zen, for pTGC, right? Yeah, man. We're at the top of this cycle. When our lives have been changed, we owe him a debt of gratitude, right? And a lot of people will. Oh man, I can't wait to meet him in person, man, in real life. And he may never come to an event, but there might be opportunities to meet him in real life if you go to meet him, go to where he is. He's pretty concerned about his security, and rightfully so, because of the pTGC's tokenomics. So anyhow, I'm glad you guys enjoyed the stream. It was cool to have B in here. I wasn't expecting him, and he does drop in every now and again. And I love it when he drops in, because he brings a lot of people into, because when he's on X in a space, everybody can see it. And then he brings people and they get to hear him talk about pTGC, and he loves PulseChain and pTGC. So clearly, and he obviously is he's a seasoned investor, right? And he holds pTGC. That's just so special. You know what I mean? I love it. Yeah, man. Happy 4th of July, Independence Day. Go enjoy it with your families. And I'll be streaming tomorrow. Excuse me, at same time, 1 o'clock. So if you're new, jump in and I'll run through the tokenomics again, and we'll just chat about pTGC also. All right, guys, go have a day. Appreciate you. See ya.